The life of a tennis player seems like a dream to most people. You travel all over the world, you have adoring fans, you get paid and rather handsomely at that while living your dream. But before getting to that stage, there are a number of sacrifices to be made. Hours and hours of training and years spent away from your family. Marcos Baghdatis has experienced all of that. The glory of a Grand Slam final in Australia in 2006 and being ranked amongst the top 8 players in the world the same year. But before that, he had to leave his home island, Cyprus, to make tennis his profession.
I came to France when I was 14 on my own as part of an academy with a host family. It wasn't easy, but I was lucky that I had amazing people around me, and especially my host family. They treated me amazingly. So I was lucky to have just what I needed to succeed. Later, I demonstrated my talent, I worked hard on the court, and I succeeded.
A new life far from home. He had to adapt and settle in. Not always an easy task, especially when the results don't go your way. That's when Marcos's substitute family, the Benaims, really got behind him.
Now I don't even see them as a host family. They're my mom and dad, brother and sister. We got on very well, very quickly. They showed me a lot of love, and when you are 14 years old, it's that more than anything that you need. Without them, things would have been much tougher.
In 2003, he got the reward for all his hard work when he won the title of Junior World Champion. It was a turning point. This title gave him confidence, and it confirmed that he had made the right choice. Marcos was going to make his dream come true, become a professional tennis player.
It's a dream come true. When I watched the 1992 Wimbledon final between Agassi and Ivanisevic, I always wanted to have that extra quality that Agassi had that day. Also because my older brother, he used to play a lot of tennis too. He tried to be a champion, but he didn't manage it. Unfortunately, he was involved in a car accident, and he wasn't able to pursue his dream. But that just made me even more determined. I watched all his matches when I was small. He was my idol.
Without his brother Petros, the Cypriot might never have become the champion he is today. Tennis is in the Baghdatis family.
I started playing tennis when I was 4. Before that, my 2 brothers played before I was born. So I started going to the courts with my father very, very early on.
Christos, their Lebanese father, noticed his youngest son's potential at a very early age.
He used to hit balls back and forth with me. Slowly but surely, I also had coaches on the court. Coaches from the clubs in Cyprus. My father was always on the court when I was on the court.
And there was never going to be any other sport for Marcos. Despite being a football fan, his father had made the decision for him. He would be a tennis champion, nothing else.
My father didn't want it. He was scared of getting me involved in football because of injuries, and also because football in Cyprus is complicated. You needed to know somebody to get into one of the clubs. You needed contacts. So he wanted me to play tennis instead. And he had seen I was talented, so he pushed me into tennis.
And time showed that his father was right. In January 2006, to many people's surprise, Marcos Baghdatis reached the Australian Open final. This 21-year-old kid, unknown on the circuit, managed to beat Andy Roddick, Ivan Ljubicic and David Nalbandian, all ranked in the top 10. Only Roger Federer brought his unbelievable run to an end. And again in 2006, another match played a defining role in the Cypriot's career. At the US Open, he was beaten by Andre Agassi after an epic 5-setter. Baghdatis remains the last opponent to be beaten by the American tennis legend.
Everyone speaks about that match. There was indeed a lot of emotion, but in the end I lost that match. And that hurt, to lose that match, because I played well. I think that I lost it because I wasn't mentally tough enough to play in front of the 23,000 people who were all against me. So, lots of emotion. It was amazing. Lots of positive things came out of that match.
A flash of destiny, especially since Marcos Baghdatis was often compared to Agassi, two players with a devastating forehand who attack from the back of the court with a high-risk game. A style very different to that of his idol, the Australian Pat Rafter, US Open champion in 1997 and 1998.
He's a guy I adored when I was young. He was classy, fair play. His style of play was exceptional. He was very physical on the court. I also loved his look, the beard, the long hair. He had something special about him, Rafter.
Marcos Baghdatis wore his hair in a ponytail like Rafter for quite a while. After his brilliant feat at the Australian Open, he had a run of injuries and strains which made it difficult for him to turn his promising start into something more. With short hair and a bright spirit, he was back to pursuing his dream, winning a Grand Slam. He looked to his parents for support.
Even if I didn't speak to them all that often, because it was hard to communicate, I found it difficult only being able to speak by phone, but I always knew they were there for me. Motivation comes from the family as well, from coaches, from dreams which you have inside. And I have a dream, and I want to make it happen.
Over these past months away from the courts, Marcos Baghdatis has taken the time to write a book, an autobiography. That may surprise you, an autobiography at the age of barely 25. But he felt an overwhelming need to thank those who helped him become a champion. At the top of the list are his parents, with whom things were not always easy during his years in France.
I think that they are the ones who suffered the most in my career. I wrote so that everyone could see my life between the ages of 14 and 20, what I did in Paris, how things were when I left Cyprus, all that emotion. Because everyone thinks I got here with a snap of the fingers. And it wasn't like that at all. Things were put in place beforehand. Sacrifices were made. And I wanted everyone to know about these sacrifices, especially for my parents to know about these sacrifices. I wanted them to know how I felt when I left. It was a way of writing, showing, expressing myself.
A very special and moving account which proves that behind every champion there is a child or a teenager with his or her flaws. Flaws which enabled Marcos Baghdatis to reach the heights of world tennis.